I'm streaming this live on Facebook because it's important that we get the word out, um, especially based on the chaos that's gone on since this week. Because I was getting a lot of calls from people, anxiety, what's going to happen. Are we still eligible to play into this place? And I want everyone to be clear. That's a distraction. Don't get caught up on all of that. They're going to do what they're going to do. It's an executive order. These programs are law. So the executive order cannot supersede the law. What I want is for us to keep our eyes on the ground. There always are going to have distractions. They're going to do what they're going to do. So for me, now more than ever, it's important that we come together collectively as a community and pool our resources together. Um, Thank you guys for joining us. I wanted to put that out there and help those contractors when they're seeing what's happening, not to lose the focus. That still is our tax dollars, and they're always going to have contracts for small businesses. Can I get an amen from the church? Because I'm getting ready to preach this morning.
Amen, sister. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
All right. So let's jump into the PowerPoint. Um, Again, we are GPI and we love creating millionaires and building generational wealth. Right now, 2025, this year, it is our time. And we just need to be prepared. And are you prepared? And that preparation needs to be based on your why. Because becoming and being an entrepreneur is not easy. So my why is based on what I saw my parents' generation go through, and specifically my father, who was one of the first Black police officers in Asheville, North Carolina. And he ended up having to sue the city based on discrimination. He won. After he won, he ran for city council. While he was a city council, he identified land by the projects and felt like the kids needed a park. So he was able to get it funded, and we now have a park in his name. So for us, I will consistently say for my community, we have no choice. We were the ones, at least my generation was the one who was able to take advantage of the opportunities. Our parents did not have the same opportunities that we had, but they created the pathway so that we could have these opportunities. So for us, there's no excuse. I think my generation, well, I'll say this. No one talks about my generation. I'll be 65 this year. My generation was the guinea pig of this integration system. They were forced in North Carolina to integrate us. And they weren't prepared for us, and we weren't prepared for them. And we had to figure out how to navigate this system that didn't want us and still don't want us. But what they did is allow us to become educated and create a career path and make a lot of money. But those behind me didn't understand the struggles that we had to go through to get to those positions. Um, because racism has always been a part of America and it will still become a part of America. I mean, it will always exist. So I'm not getting caught up on the distraction. That's just my little side piece this morning because they made me mad. But I want us to not give up hope. We got too much going on to let them distract us. They did allow us to get inside and understand the system and make a lot of money. Now it's time to bring that money home. We need to begin to understand how we create our own ecosystem and self-finance our own communities. They're not going to take care of us. I want to go back to my community growing up where I had all my teachers, all the, the community that raised and supported me. That's the whole purpose of me creating GPI, is so that we do have a community and we should not even have to leave the community ever. We have too many skill sets, too many degrees within the community where we can now understand the power of us collectively coming together and going after those $100 million contracts. But we have to learn how to work together and how to collectively pool our resources. Can I get an amen from the church?
Amen.
Amen.
Yeah.
Okay. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Paula Watts, the founder and CEO of GPI. A little of my background. I'm originally from Asheville, North Carolina. After college, I went to Washington, D.C., and my first job was with a company that was a part of the 8A program. By a show of hands, can you all tell me if you've heard of the 8A program? If not, we're going to go into more depth about that program. But for me, as that 25-year-old going to Washington, D.C., and coming from Asheville, North Carolina, I was like, what's going on up here? Y'all free. Meaning, I never seen that many Black-owned businesses. I had role models. So my first job was as an event planner, and I ended up attaching myself to one of the there's one contract that was a part of the 8A program where I went through 5 companies before I started my own business. As I was going through those companies, those Black-owned business owners was training me. I would like to say, and Dina, who's working with me and been with me through the trenches, would say they trained us up well. They taught us the game. Um, After going through 5 of them, understanding at 25, when I saw that they could do it, I could do it. I told my father, I'm gonna start my business. And he was like, I got you, go for it. So by 35, I started my first business. The first year in business, I received my first $1 million contract. Second year in business, I applied into the 8A program, received another $3 million contract, and quickly grew the business to almost $15 million in contracts, and really didn't have a clue what I was doing. I had almost 40 employees. I went from a project manager to running a multi-million dollar company. And that's where my challenge began, meaning I could not read a profit and loss statement. I had 2 business partners, one who felt like he could run his personal expenses through the company. I had my assistant to do an audit on his account. He takes her in the elevator. He threatens her. I terminate him. He then conspired with 2 employees to sue me and the other partner for sexual harassment. After 2 years of attorney fees, $125,000 in attorney fees, $100,000 to buy him out, I had no more operating cash, so I closed the business down in 2005. And what that did, it pushed me to my passion because I really didn't have a clue. My passion became because I knew no one was training my community on how to grow and manage a business on that level. So I volunteered as a SCORE counselor for 2 years. I'm very strategic. I knew no one was servicing our community. I created workshops under the SCORE umbrella, which is a resource partner of SBA. After 2 years and running out of money, I applied for a position at SBA. My first, I was interviewed a half an hour over the phone, and then I was hired a month later in Philadelphia. That office, it was the office that processed the 8A applications. So I was able to build relationships and understand what they were looking for and why they were declining businesses applying into that program. After 4 years in Philadelphia, I relocated here in 2012 to Atlanta. And while I was in this district office, they required that we become certified as a contract specialist. And for me, that was the missing piece, meaning I had run a business for 10 years, um, worked at SBA for 7 years, but wasn't quite sure how those agencies put those solicitations together for you to compete on. So by becoming certified as a contract specialist, that was the full circle for me. I've trained more than 10,000 businesses on marketing to the federal government and have assisted small businesses to win over 1.5 billion contracts across various industries. I've self-published a book called That's Crazy, Recognize Crazy and Run. It details some of the challenges I had in that first business, but the names have been changed to protect the innocent because everyone wants to get to the mountaintop, but you have to understand what occurs at that mountaintop. And that was, again, one of the reasons I created GPI. So what are the challenges with small businesses entering into this space? What I found while working at SBA and people coming to our workshops, everyone would leave all hype once they learned about the programs, and it was great information, but they weren't quite sure how to connect the dots once they left. And it was the same thing with these government agencies. No one understood SBA's rules and regulations. So that left a lot of confusion for a lot of people playing in this space. And SBA is a major factor in this equation. And I will consistently say, unless you've worked on the inside of SBA, no one understands them. So what are the challenges? Understanding their language. The government assumes you understand all their acronyms. They're assuming that you understand their processes. Once you determine what certifications you are qualified for, they're not quite sure. You're not quite sure what documentation SBA is going to be looking for as you begin to apply into those programs. And understanding that all of these agencies are siloed. No one talks to each other. So SAM.gov, which we'll cover shortly, is managed by another agency. SBA has their own databases, but both of them need to be filled out and work together, but it's not set up that way. So based on all of that you've just heard, helped me to create GPI based on my lessons learned and what I wish someone would have told me in that first business. The first thing that I learned in that business was not to limit your business. If you think of this system here, the system in the education system is designed for you to become a laborer. It's not teaching you how to run a business. I've had several people with MBAs. I got a couple of doctors who are even currently taking the program today, but no one is teaching those doctors how to grow a practice. They're not teaching them the business side of it. They're teaching you how to be self-employed. So my mentor, after I won that first $1 million contract and I was marketing my company as an event planning company, my mentor pulled me aside and said, "Why are you pigeonholing yourself?" And when he said that, it made sense based on those 5 companies that I'd gone through. In this space, everybody is management consulting. After I won that first $1 million contract, I was no longer doing event planning. So I changed my business model. I created divisions. I had an administrative division. I had an IT division because I needed a website. So that's part of me outsourcing for that event. So why not separate that and sell that separately? I had a communications division. I had a database division. And once I started creating those divisions, I started winning contracts. In this space, you don't have to know anything about this contract. Your job as the CEO is to find the subject matter experts that have the skill sets for that contract. Then you're putting your money on top of that. Did the church hear that? And is that making sense to you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Amen.
Preach, preach.
Corner over here.
We have been trained to work and kill ourselves together and not understand the power of building a team. When you think of sports, because my daddy wanted me to play sports, I look at basketball and the NBA. We push our children to become LeBrons and Stephon and all these high-end paid athletes. And when I look at the NBA and I look at the sports, does the owner of those NBA teams need to know anything about basketball? And what is their job, someone? What's the job of an NBA owner? Anybody?
To make money.
That to make money, but how's he making money?
By organizing different elements of the business and make sure that they're running properly.
Because he don't play basketball and he don't know how to play
Right.
basketball.
Exactly.
He just the money is running through him.
His goal, let me simplify this, is to find me the best dream team every year. Now I'm gonna make money. All the other stuff is gonna fall within itself. So it's not about, it's about the team. Because I know if I get me a dream team, they take me to the goal, I'm gonna win, I'm gonna make more money. So that's how you're running a business. That's how I think of business as a sports. Finding the subject matter experts that have the experience on those contracts, and those are called contingency hires. And the government's okay with that. And how you're shaping your story and all your marketing material is I have a team of experts. So what I saw working at SCORE and working with a lot of SBA resources, they will tend to tell our community, stay on the state level, stay on the local level, stay in your skill set because you're not ready to compete on federal contracts. That's not true. So when they tell you that, your response will always be, I have a team of experts that are qualified to do the job. My job as the owner is not to have to do the work. So in the first module, we train you on how to create a business model that's sustainable and that look like everybody else. And what we found over the years, that's the challenge, that mindset and that mind shift. Because I'm telling people, don't reinvent the wheel. Dress up, cut and paste, and offer the same services that all these other contractors are offering. Because nobody's gonna come up to you and say, ooh, you're doing the same thing I'm doing. They're not. There's not enough money for that. Am I making sense to you guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yes.
The second part is collaboration. All of SBA's programs and all of these contracts are designed for you to collaborate. The problem is we've been trained to compete with each other. We've been trained to taste the crumbs. I'm trying to train us to pull our resources together and go after the $100 million contracts. You get a piece of it, you get a piece of it, and that's how we become whole. As an example, I am a member of the Atlanta Black Chambers proudly. I joined them last year. I saw opportunity. I was not necessarily qualified for it, but it was something that I did. I brought it to them, helped write it for them. They won. They're taking the lead and would be subcontracting to the companies that we put in that grant. We've got to bring all of the communities together, the nonprofits and the for-profits. Just because you're a nonprofit, you can subcontract to me as a for-profit. Me as a for-profit can subcontract to you as a nonprofit. We've got to pull all the resources together. Amen, amen. You must have the infrastructure. What is the infrastructure? Everybody, what do I mean by infrastructure?
Your accounting system, your HR, your standard operating procedures.
Very good.
Okay.
Very good. Yeah, accounting and attorneys. You heard that I got sued.
I'm
So,
sorry. She said your accountant. I'm sorry to interrupt. She said your attorneys and accountants.
absolutely.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry.
Soon as you have that first, or before you hire that first employee, you want to make sure you obtain employment practice liability insurance. Can someone write that in the chat? EPLI. Had I had that insurance, that would have covered my attorney fees and the partnership buyout. People think E&O, errors and omissions, covers those types of lawsuits. That's covering you from the outside. The employment practice liability insurance is covering you from the inside. Now, when you look at the federal government, what's the fiscal year of the federal government? When does their fiscal year start and when does it end? Somewhat.
October 1 to September 30th.
October 1 to September 30th. So for you as a small business, there's a peak time and a downtime for you to market to the government. Because what tends to happen, and this year again is an exception because of it being an election year, is that the government will operate on a continuing resolution. That's called a CR. You all need to pay attention to that part of the news, understanding when they're going to pass the budget. For me on the inside, from October until February or March, when they pass the budget, we're operating on a limited budget. So we're twirling our hands. That's the time that you're trying to get in front of those agencies and begin to build relationships. Because all business is based on relationship, regardless of what you're doing. Peak time bidding is generally from April to September. So the closer you get to September, no one's trying to talk to you. They're just trying to get rid of the money. They have a short window to get rid of the money before the end of the fiscal year. Why federal contracts? Every year, SBA negotiate goals with each agency. 23% for small businesses, 5% if you're a woman-owned, 5% for small disadvantaged businesses. And we'll talk about that. And that also includes 8A participants, 5% if you're service disabled, and 3% if you're HUBZone. So whatever certification I don't have, I'm going to make sure I have a partner or another business that have that certification. So I'm always going to have a contracting vehicle for the government. We've been trained on, we need all these certifications. You don't on the federal level. I don't need all these certifications to compete as a small business. You can compete on contracts just as a small business. The certifications help the agency achieve their goals. As an example, if the agency awarded a contract to your business for $100,000 just as a small business, that agency now gets $100,000 credit towards their goal. If you're a woman-owned business, now they get another $100,000 credit towards that goal. So that agency is getting $200,000 credit off of that one contract. So the more certifications you have, you're helping that agency achieve their goals. Over here, each year, SBA grade the agency. So we teach you to use this scorecard as a strategy, identifying those agencies that did not meet those goals if you're in any one of these programs. But you can also see the amount of dollars that went into these programs. So it's a whole lot of money that was going on. So what you see here, and this is what's going to change, it's going to hit us hard. That's why I want us to first perfect going after contracts as a small business. With the Biden and Harris administration, they mandated through an executive order that they increase the award amount to 15% by 2025. And the last 23 goals, they haven't put 24 out. This particular program received 12.1% of the contract dollars. That's where we're going to get hit. That's okay. We just need to mobilize and again understand how we go after what's getting ready to attack us. What I realized leaving the DMV area and going to Pennsylvania and even coming here, people outside of the DMV area had no clue about these programs. Just based on, and this is what I did last year, I'll need to update this, the number of businesses that are in the 8A program. So you see it's almost 1,700 businesses in that, just in Maryland and Virginia. What I realized when I came here in Georgia and I started looking at the surrounding states, when you look at South Carolina, you look at North Carolina, 46 businesses in South Carolina in the 8A program, 73 in North Carolina. There's a problem because I refuse to believe that we don't have more than 46 Black-owned businesses, and these may not even be all Black-owned, in South Carolina. To me, something is wrong. So same thing here in Georgia. It's only 117 businesses in that program here, Black-owned businesses. So what I was finding was businesses from DC was coming here to win contracts. There's no competition. When you look at the Atlanta Black Chambers, they have 1,200 members alone. But nobody is teaching them, or they aren't aware that they can apply into this program. So that was my mission and assignment last year, is to get as many Black-owned businesses in this 8A program now, regardless of the industry. If you were retail, if you were landscaping, painters, if you are able to meet the basic minimum requirements. Our goal is to get as many in the pipeline now before they change the game of this program. And I'll share why when we get to that part about this program and why I'm so passionate about it. And then even last year, again, I started looking at the numbers. Who's getting these contracts? when I looked at the amount of awards that went just to small businesses nationally, and then I broke down how many awards were awarded to small businesses in state of Georgia's, and then in the state of Georgia, and then I broke it down a little further by Black owned, and then those that were in the 8A program. And when you look at this pie chart, does this say anything to anyone? What are you all seeing?
A big fat
A
zero.
huge disparity.
Numbers are skewed.
Yeah, something is wrong. And that's because, again, nobody even know about these programs. And I pulled this, and we're going to visit this shortly, this website. I wanted you to see what agencies and what companies in the 8A program were coming here and winning contracts. You can see the dollars. Virginia, 372 million. And then I looked at the amount of dollars that was coming into the firms that were in this program in Georgia. There's a problem. This is the website where you go to register, sam.gov. And the reason I tell you that you can compete as a small business on a federal side, because the government have contracts that are specifically designed for small businesses. Those are buys that are 250,000 and below. And what you're going to find is you're not competing with as many people. When you look at state and local contracts, you're competing with a larger pool. Not that I don't want their dollars, but to me, it makes sense to start at the federal, understand the federal game, win money up there, and then come down. Because most state and local contracts and corporations are driven by the federal dollars. Most anybody that received any money from the federal government, they have to follow their rules and regulations. So once you learn it on the federal, it's going to be a whole lot easier on the state and local. Am I making sense to everyone?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Yes.
As an example, this was an opportunity that was out in September. Government, SBA actually was looking for marketing materials. This is the requirements. Do I need to be a vendor that do all of this to go after this opportunity? Anyone? And what would you do?
No,
Subcontract it out.
yep.
And then you put your money on top of it. It's like you do when you're at home. If I'm looking, I just had my floors replaced. If I'm looking for a carpet, I'm getting 3 quotes and getting the best deal. So you're in essence negotiating on behalf of the government. And you just put your money on top of it as a project manager. That's all these contracts are. You're just
And
managing the contracts. Yeah.
Miss Paula.
Yes.
So in this, just kind of going back and wanting to bring this full circle, when you're talking about the collaborative effort regarding that, you know, if I am able to get the contract, I can then call, I'm just because I see this on the screen, Jennifer Dupree's business may be one that
Yes.
I can, and so we need to put together, I mean, like, how do we put together a quote unquote non-compete directory?
That's what we cover in the class.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm going too far. But
Yes,
that's what I'm
forgot.
saying here, to bring it full circle, if that's the outcome intention, is that the outcome intention that we are using each other as the subcontractor?
Absolutely. Or if not, we're still small business.
Gotcha.
I would go directly to a manufacturer in that capacity. I mean, I'll give you I would, on these little buys, I would go directly. On the big buys, that's where you're going to collaborate on those $1 million contracts. But on these little buys, I'm just trying to get fed right now. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You also have another opportunity to pre-plan, I would like to say. Every agency will have a forecast. And I love HUD because every month they update it. So this is always an active document. If you go to their forecast, they're going to tell you exactly what they anticipate buying in this fiscal year. So this is how you begin to get in front of those contracts. And I like HUD because they break it down by their operation. So anything relating administration, HR is categorized. And I also like the new contracts. New contracts mean I'm not having to compete with anybody. Over here, I'm competing with someone who currently have that contract. And you can see it's a total small business. That means I can compete on that contract soon as I register in SAM. But before it's posted, I can start reaching out to Mr. Davis and start gathering information. So, for example, just to begin the dialogue, Mr. Davis, you have an opportunity coming out. You anticipate it being released in August, and you're looking at collaboration solutions for the leadership of your HR office. My question to Mr. Davis would be, well, how many individuals are you looking to have this service for? Just to begin the dialogue. And I will keep in touch with him throughout before it's posted and look at the other opportunities that these individuals are responsible for. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
So right here, we got a lot of hours that are, this is system installation. So that's not necessarily security guard. That's IT. So over here, it's $3 to $5 million. It's a 5-year contract. So this is where we come together and pull our resources together and divide up the contract. Does that make sense?
Sort of,
Absolutely.
but yes.
Okay. So now to play in this space, you have to self-certify in this database. We call it, I was at SBA when it was launched. It's Systems for Awards Management. We started calling it Such a Mess. It still is a mess, but you can self-certify as a small business and as a small disadvantaged business. Although most agencies don't use this set aside, because once you're in the 8A program, you're automatically a SDB. So they're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. There are 4 certifications that you have to submit and be approved by SBA. The 8A program, which is a business development program, the HUBZone program, which is designed to build communities, and then women-owned and service-disabled veteran-owned businesses. Why this program is to my heart? Because I know the value of this program, and specifically being raised in it in DC, and how I understand it creates generational wealth. This is the only program that I know that is designed to build your business for 9 years. By being in this program, it allows you to go to any federal agency and you sell your service to them. They can award a contract to you and it never goes on the street. Those are called sole source contracts, non-competitive contracts. Did the church hear that?
Can you say that one more time?
In this program, it allows you to go to any federal agency And if you market to them and they like you, they say, ooh, I have this contract. I'm going to give you a contract for $4.5 million. And that's it. You start working on it. That's how you're gaining your business development.
And that's for a guaranteed of 9 years. Is that what you're saying?
Huh?
That's for a minimum of 9 years.
That's 9 years. After 9 years, you're out. So this is the game that we play.
Wow, that's crazy.
This is the game we play. Hear me now. We always gonna have someone in the pipeline. That's what they did in DC. Your grandfather in. So every time they change the rules, we just have to adapt to the rules. So now it allows family members to come into the program. So you can go through the program and start subcontracting to a family member. When you graduate, then that second family member is in line. Now you have 18 years old, 18 years in the program.
Miss Paula,
Yes,
so that's like a built-in succession plan where you actually are handing off the business?
absolutely. Hello.
Whoa,
Wow.
what?
Hello. This is the game, right? Because once they graduate, they can't keep it. It has to go to another 8A. So if you're married, we want you to separate on paper. One goes through, and what you do behind the scene is what you do behind the scene. Now the second one comes through. One of my proteges has followed it and executed it to the T. She came in. She's in real estate. Y'all probably know I talk about it all the time, but she heard me when I met her with SBA. She followed the blueprint. Her son, 26 years old, 3 years ago, leaving the military, service disabled vet. I told her then, get him started, start subcontracting. She has trained up all these 30 and under. This is how we create our own workforce. And all they're doing is looking for opportunities. She's not in the day-to-day management of her government contracting business. She leveraged that government contracts to get an Amazon contract. Mm, mm. Now she has almost 100 drivers in Amazon. That's another revenue stream. She's now has combined both and has enough money where now she's able, and I'm so proud of her, and she's trying to bring others along where she's now doing development in her country in Guyana. We can't get into those spaces until we had money. Now she graduated from the program in August. Now her son is in line. He's 29 years old. She has a daughter who graduated and got her master's in international business. Now the daughter last year was like, what y'all doing? I want to get in. She went through the program. Now she's neck and neck managing the Amazon side, but she knows the contract side as well. Are y'all hearing me on how we create this generational wealth?
Absolutely, because by the time they are able to graduate, they may have children or whatever to hand it down to. And then those children go up in the business and they hand it down.
Until they get, they're not going to get rid of the program. I think that was everyone's fear this week.
Okay.
What's going to happen is they're diluting it so much that we're not going to get as much benefit as we have. What do I mean by diluting? By that affirmative action that they did last year. And I'll go in how we bring the haves and the have-nots, because those who do not meet the qualifications, let me keep it going because I can start preaching. The HUBZone is for again, the communities is where your business is located and 35% of your employees reside. But with the HUBZone, with the 8A program, the social component of it previously was if you were a member of any of these ethnic groups, you automatically met the social component. Last year, because of the affirmative action ruling and what they're doing now, they're now making you write a social narrative on how you've been traumatized being Black in America on your discrimination. And you have to
That's
provide
easy.
examples.
That's
And you
easy,
have to
Dr.
provide
Carla.
examples, but no, they cross-referencing it with your resume. But we got what I'm doing on this side, I'm bringing in all my government people. I have now 5 SBA retirees on our team that are now able to provide you the inside knowledge. They can speak freely. The other component of this is if you have a record, because this just us system is just that justice system is just for us. And you think about it, that's a contract where they still, I would like to say, pimping us. I can't say that there's probably not that many of us where a family member has touched this just us system. It has never been for us, it will never be. That is how they get the free labor. So for those brothers and sisters that have touched that system, but you're not on parole or probation, guess what? You could start a business and get into this game too. This is how we begin again to change the dynamics of the community, because that just us system, once you get that record, you're labeled. They blackballed us from those individuals getting housing, jobs. What are they supposed to do? Start the same cycle. So we've got to do better. We've got to come up with solutions that's not dependent on others telling us what those solutions are. I'm telling y'all, these are the solutions. The other component of this is your economic net worth cannot exceed $850,000, minus any equity in your home and in your business. And that's where the haves come in. Are y'all hearing me? Those who exceed that 850,000, the rule is changing. Previously, as of last year, you could own up to 10% of an 8A company and never be on SBA's radar. They just recently changed it to 20%. You can own up to 20% of an 8A company and never be on SBA's radar. Why is that key and critical? Because we are going to have to self-finance ourselves. So if the haves are able to come in and invest up to 20% and not have to disclose their tax returns or have SBA in their business, this is how we begin to gain access to capital, because they're not financing us, they're not funding us. That have, after they own that 20% and that 8A company start winning contracts, now that 8A company buy back that 20%. And now they do the same for the next generation or the next one coming through. Are y'all hearing me?
Yes, ma'am. Loud and
Loud
clear.
and clear.
We need the Oprahs out here. I'm on Facebook. We need the Oprahs and Tylers. We need y'all to come in and help us. The HUBZone, there's no term limits. You recertify every year, but you see here in this program, you also get sole source contracts and competitive, competing with only businesses in this program. The difference in this programming and obtaining sole source, in order for the agency to give you sole source contracts, they have to make sure that there are at least 2 businesses that are qualified to perform on that contract. That's called the rule of 2. So again, what we do is we work together and we flood it to force the agency to give somebody a sole source. The rules of this program, your principal office must be in the HUB zone. 35% of your employees live in the HUB zone. You also get an additional, what they call price evaluation preference, meaning the agency will tack on 10% of someone else's costs that's not a part of the program. This is the HUBZone map. If you put in your address, it's going to let you know whether or not your business or your home is in a HUB zone. And a lot of times, HUB zone does not necessarily mean the hood zone. When you look at where SBA is located downtown, my old working place, it's down near the high-end places. And why is it there? Why would you think that area is a HUB zone? Someone.
Because
You got,
of the communities around it, or underserved communities, maybe?
yeah, you have 5 points. There was a homeless shelter down there for a period, right? So all these areas are considered HUB zone. The women's program is broken into 2 components, economically disadvantaged and WOSB. They have changed these databases where all these certifications are now centralized under my SBA certification. I just haven't had a chance to update the PowerPoint. But there are a lot of bugs in it. They just launched it in October. But and it makes sense because previously when you applied for the 8A program, if I applied for the economically disadvantaged program, I was having to upload the same documents to each program. Now they've centralized it, and once you apply for one and they're requesting the same documents, you don't have to upload it twice. For this program, it's broken in 2 components. The ED is mirroring the 8A program. This program is still relatively new. Again, they have lobbyists, and the lobbyists have now come in and really taken a lot of the benefits from the 8A program and spreading it across the board. You can self-certify, again, through my SBA certification, and someone could put that in the chat or the website link, or you can go through a third-party certifier, and there is a fee. For me, because I'm such a control person, you still giving them the document to upload, but I think they are having those that go through that third-party certifier get certified quicker. There's no amount of time of being in business. All of these programs require at least 51% ownership. For that 8A program, I want to back up. I did hear real estate. On your tax returns, you want to make sure your industry code does not have real estate as part of it. Your code should be 541611. That is the management code. That's a catch-all. And pretty much that's how we dress all and making sure that you have all of these multiple industry codes that gives you the flexibility to go this way or that way. And I don't recommend all of these partnerships. And what I found, especially in the real estate, is in our community as a whole, we're good for having about 3 or 4 or 5 companies. For me, as that SBA person, that's a heartache. You need to have one company because every company you have and everything that your name is attached to, I got to investigate. because the programs are based on you being economically disadvantaged. So if you got revenue coming in this company, that company, they're affiliated and you may not qualify. And part of both of those programs, the 8A and the women's program, they require that you are full-time under that entity. Specifically for the AA program, because SBA's viewpoint is if we're going to give you 9 years access to non-competitive contracts, we need to make sure that you are committed and full-time under the entity that we are qualifying. You cannot have W-2s from this entity or you got revenue on that entity because we don't know which business are you truly committed to. Any questions around that?
Yes, I have a question. So if you have a real estate license or you have a real estate company and you started another company to do government contracts.
Oh, ma'am, we're just gonna put that under your real estate. You're gonna
Okay.
be doing business as.
So if you have two companies already started, you would recommend winding down the other company or wind up or
Yes,
whatever? Okay,
yes,
getting rid of, okay.
yes. Make it clean. Okay. Do I have any veterans online?
Yes.
Yes, Horace is a veteran.
Thank you for your service. My veterans, every military base that you've gone to, we're gonna go back and find some contracts. You're gonna tap into the Transition Assistance Program to build your team. There's no term limits in this program. You also get the opportunity of sole source contracts and competition. So I hear Horace and the missus. Right there, I hear at least 4 potential certifications. Did you all hear any certifications? Horace and what was your wife's name?
Kimberly.
Did you hear any certifications?
He has the veteran small business certification. And we have applied for the 8A like 4 times and just got frustrated and gave up.
And I'm saying
Just under his business.
you're gonna have him being 8A service disabled veteran, or if he's a service disabled, then you're gonna have your own separate entity where you're woman owned.
Yes. And I have a separate company too.
Okay, so that's how we're gonna play this game, but y'all can play together, okay? Again, going through the veterans program, everything has now been sent to SBA. It is now being processed by SBA. And if you are already certified by them, then it will come. I mean, their grandfather you in. There's a checklist for their certifications. And let's make clear about these certifications. Which ones are for what? For corporate, all them E's. I don't like them E's because they don't really, on the corporate side, it's MBE, WBE, but you don't really know who's doing the work. I mean, who the players are. The federal is, you can see those certifications. DBEs are state certifications, and then you may have local certifications. The reason I don't like these E's, especially here, is they never allow you to become your own boss. So that's why I say start with the federal, get the past performance, and then it comes down through here. And so what I am doing is building it up on the outside. And I'll show you shortly. Again, there's cost to,
Paula.
yes.
Yes, this is Melanie. I wanted just to interject, just ask a question really quickly. So as it relates to certifications, I know you said earlier, the certifications are really for the agencies. right?
Mhm.
Because it allows them to reflect, I guess, their it really allows them to get more funding. Is that fair to say?
It helps them meet their goals.
Their goal. Okay.
'Cause
So now
I'm graded every year. If I don't meet my goal, that messes with my money. I don't get my
so
bonus. Mhm.
when you okay, now with the the new administration, I know we still are learning as we go. It's very, very fluid at this point. But if there is if they're taking away kind of those kind of set asides, like that notion of set asides, and that everyone basically is going to play on equal footing. Um
That's
there's
that's
no
why we're gonna,
advantage. So how do we
yeah,
so is it still beneficial to get those certifications if we're just
absolutely.
coming, it is?
Absolutely, absolutely, because I want to first, we're gonna perfect being a small business. No certifications. Oh, by the way, because what I'm anticipating is gonna still be a whole big wave of people leaving the government that used to be on the inside that was able to help us get through the system. So as we begin to submit bids, we have to be very we're gonna have to be always identify ourselves as a small business. And that's how I was trained. Those 8A firms the infrastructure was non-minorities, and I get it now because they couldn't be the face of those 8A firms. But they trained us to make sure all of our I's and T's and those extra spaces did not go out there because having those certifications was a um, not to your advantage because they already stereotype 8A firms, DBEs, they can't read and write.
Mm,
So I want us to perfect being a small business and mastering that game. And if they
okay.
do anything with any of those programs, do it. But they're not going to um, get rid of small business contracts. That's never going to go away. Small businesses run the government.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
So
does that make
government
sense?
Yeah, I think I mean, I certainly understand about small businesses run the government, but I guess now it feel, I don't know. And I mean, I think it's probably always been this way in the sense of, I think, because I know you mentioned before about building those relationships with um, those on the inside so that when an opportunity comes by, they may consider your business for this. But I guess I'm just trying to, I don't know. We'll keep going. I
You're
just,
trying
I'm a little apprehensive. Go
you're
ahead.
trying to give them the whatever vehicles, whoever are there in there. Everybody's not on the other side. So whoever is in there, you want to be able to have that contracting vehicle for them because they
Okay.
still have to meet those goals.
So there still are going to be goals for
Absolutely,
small business. Okay.
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
All right. And again, these are the places where you go to get your certification. Our program again is broken down by modules. It's broken into 3 modules. Business ready, government ready, contract ready. So a lot of people will come in and say, well, I've already registered in SAM and I've done all of this. I don't need to take this. That is not correct. Everyone starts at the same place because this whole program was designed based on SBA and my first business. So I have templates that you're going to use where you don't have to reinvent the wheel. The third module is government ready. That's where we're putting you into teams and you have to complete deliverables as if we're the government, because at that point, we're the government. You have to learn how to work together. We don't want to hear you call or do anything about team issues. And then the third module is all around your business plan and the all small business program, because that's where I'm really trying to get you all to get to, is leverage that all small mentor protege program, where that program allows you to leverage someone else's resources to get you into the door. And it allows them to give you money. That's the only program that allow large businesses to come in and mentor you, and they get access to those set asides. So that's the game that they're doing. They're expanding the 8A program because, again, that's the only program by law that gives sole source contracts to allow others to come in, and then the large millionaires, billionaires going to invest in these 8A companies, and we're not going to be able to compete. I'm just saying we got to pull our resources together as well. It's minimum 15. The program will start February 11th. Right now we have a early bird rate that is normally $24.97, but my goal is to get most people in it now and begin to collaborate. It's $1,000 for that second person, but today I'm going to end this next week. I'm going to extend this early bird rate until next week. My goal is to get us in the game. The class start on that Tuesday, 8 to 9:30 p.m. Everything is recorded, so even if you miss a class, you can go back and listen to it. We have Miss Jones, who is a former SBA. She was actually my supervisor at SBA. And she was able to come in, and they've been a master trainer. So I have 5 SBA retirees who are master trainers. So they're able to give y'all a better insight than I can, because they've been in that system longer than I have and see different situations. We also provide additional support with office hours. I'm there on Tuesdays from 6 to 7, where I may go in a little bit more deeper with the sessions. Then for assistance with your lab work, your homework, that's on Thursday. And then these are the deliverables that you would be preparing at the end of each module. So by the time that you're through, you're going to have a organizational chart, which will be transferred to your capability statement, and that's what you're going to be selling to the government. You'll be doing your own research to determine what agency did not meet their scorecards. So it's very active. This is part of the team deliverables that we provide, that you'll have to come together as a team to produce. I provided some of the template from my previous business that was a winning proposal, so you'll know what it should look like when you're submitting your bids. I'm most excited because this year we are rolling out the GPI Procurement Academy. So our goal in understanding that our program is minimum, and you all are the first to hear this, they'll be coming out in the next week, is we know there's more to it. This is still the baby stuff that we're doing. So I've created extra electives that you'll be able to take, and bringing in the subject matter experts. This young lady, she worked at Georgia Power. She was in the acquisition department. That's the corporations. So she's going to be able to, along with her colleague who's currently there, we don't know how long that's going to last, to be able to give the insight of how you market to Georgia Power or the Southern companies. Stacy is going to after you've completed our course, she's going to host a 3-hour mini session on how to price your contracts for beginnings. Where do I begin? I'm most excited about my sister, Jewel Diamond Taylor. She'll be here. She's going to do a lunch and learn on February 14th, but she's going to do a 1-day retreat March 22nd because I'm hearing a lot of anxiety. I'm hearing a lot of things from a lot of my sisters. We're carrying a lot, and we need 1 day just to excel because in order for you to move forward, you can't be carrying all this weight. And she'll be able to provide you with tools. I just love her dearly. And then we're going to kick off February, Black History Month, since they're now trying to cancel Black History Month with all of my colleagues. And we're going to have a discussion around that 8A program. I'm most excited about that. And real quick, I know I'm over, so if some of you all need to go, I understand. But I also wanted you all to get a visual of how this really works. This was a contract I came in second on. I lost by the dollars. I passed the technical. All of these are positions that are contingency hires. So in my technical proposal, I told the government I will have all these positions that will fulfill this contract for 5 years. Up here, I started putting our salaries to offset the overhead costs. So every year, the government's paying us and they're getting a raise. The government also understands it costs for us to hire people. So we're going to get reimbursed for any benefits we offer our employees, plus the owners get those benefits. And then in here is your overhead. And the overhead is where my salary, the partner salaries, the rent, anything that related to that business, some of those dollars will be reimbursed. Right here is just the pass-through, money in, money out. The government is going to reimburse me, but right here I get to add an additional cost to those pass-throughs in the overall project that they're going to reimburse me for. For an example, I have a bookkeeper that needed to process all those travel arrangements. Her salary went in there. Part of my salary and the partner's salary went in there. So the total cost of that contract for that year would have been this amount. This would have been my profit. That's what I would have taken home for that year. Had I won that contract, it would have been $1.2 million of profit. So that's why I'm trying to get us to get away from the crumb chasing. And then over here, to give you a vision, this is Dina and I's old supervisor. She's doing about 700 million, and she and I started out the same way. So when you look at, at the same time, when you look at her services, does this relate to anybody? Just in the communications. Does any of these services relate to anybody?
Yes.
My real estate people. Do you do open house? That's event planning. You do social media. You do all of this. So as you take
Yes.
everything that you've done in your life and putting it in a service and separate it and selling it to the government, and then you're bringing the people that you know with their skill set, and now you're building a team. I have any educators. That's training. That's technical assistance in the government's language. Here, it's just dressing up and looking like the government. In the end, everybody's doing the same. When I look at Stacy, her background was real estate. So she created these divisions, and one of her very first contracts in the 8A program was testing monkeys at a lab with HIV. She just picked up the people that had already been on there for 9 years, and that was a $3.5 million contract. And she just put her money on there. Am I making sense to y'all? Are you all hearing me?
Loud and clear.
Over here is the database. I don't like sam.gov. I generally go to this database to look for opportunities because it's broken down by month and by year. And when I go here, and by day, I like to say it's shopping. So I can go in here every day and look at opportunities and what's posted for that day and who do I know. The reason I like this is broken down by alphabet and by alphabet in industry. So I can go to any industry and see what opportunities are out there. So if I go here, it's going to show me this is the management consulting. What type of opportunities are out there that I potentially either can go after or partner with individuals to get it. So strategic management consulting. I heard somebody introduce themselves and that's what they was doing. These are, again, how you put your name in the pot. They need an administrative coordinator for religious education. I did find an opportunity that was posted right here. Welcome support services. It just came out and it's due February 24th. It's administrative services. If you all have been in business, you are doing administrative services. That's a division that you can offer. And they're going to tell you how to, they're going to provide you with what they're looking for. So I went ahead and download the scope of work of what they're looking for. In here, all they're looking for is what? My military. What is this? Is that hard? These are all the tasks that they're looking for.
That is stupid easy.
Hmm?
I said that is easy. Oh
Uh,
my God.
So you're just gonna find somebody and staff them at that person, at that base, and put your money on top of it. Hmm. Hello?
Yep, I see a whole different thing, not different, but I see further opportunity to just kind of employ, beyond these latest.
Mm-hmm. Y'all working hard for little money and begging to keep the business afloat. I'm trying to work with y'all to get outside of it and let this be your working capital. As an example, this is one of our students um, that won a contract. She actually was a truck driver. She was taking the class in and on the bus as she's driving those big U-Haulers. But she was submitting bids as part of the class. This is the database that houses all your dollars, USA spending. Anytime a contract is awarded, it's posted to this database. In here is where we create a strategy, where you see type of set aside. We're going to help you to identify these 8A sole source and those companies that have it that's graduating from the program to be able to begin partnering with them. So we help you create a marketing strategy around all of these opportunities. So let me see. Did I get her?
So Paula, you said that this is the database when anytime a contract is awarded, whoever won that contract would be put in this database here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
This is the gold. This is the secret sauce to
Right.
the to the Kentucky Fried Chicken here, because you're able to, um, where's my company? She's not in it. She's not showing up. You're able to, they're changing this database, apparently. You're able to go in and look at the previous award. If I'm looking at an opportunity, um, something is going on in here. I can look at those contracts. I mean, I can go and see what the previous amount is, especially if it's cycled. Meaning every 5 years, that contract is going to come out. That's how you get in front of it and start strategizing. On sam.gov, you're reacting. Am I making sense?
Yes.
It's a shift, and it's hard to shift. I don't know why this database is not working, but we're getting close to 11 o'clock. That's another time, another day, but we go thoroughly in here for you to understand how you create a marketing plan around this database. All right, with that being said, do I have any questions? Anybody? Any questions? Any takeaways? Well, I'm gonna make you give your takeaways. Malika, what was your takeaway?
There's a lot going through my brain right now, and I know like once I leave here, I'm gonna have a lot of questions. But I would say my takeaway is that there is a lot of opportunity out there, and it's time for me and all of us that's on this call and beyond to stop playing in the little pond with the small fish and get out there and start playing with the big fish. There's absolutely no reason why we are not all creating generational wealth at this point. And I am appreciative of this opportunity. So again, thank you, Yolanda, for inviting me, but also thank you, Paula, for even sharing this information and being passionate about what you do, because it gives me hope and light that I can now start getting out of this rat race of trying to, figure out the whole business thing when it comes to entrepreneurship and small business ownership for us colored people.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And right now, I'm unapologetically not going to downplay me supporting my community, because right now the house is on fire.
Oh,
and
yeah.
we need to get it together. Thank you. Ms. Roberts, what was your takeaway?
I have, I'm familiar with some of the SAM.gov. Both me and my husband are both registered in SAM.gov. And in looking at that, I think for me and what we do, looking at it differently, because I've always thought, look at what I'm good at. So if I do grants management, that's really all I was looking for. Or if my husband is in construction, that was kind of all the aspects we were looking for. So kind of opening our thoughts on how we look at this procurement field is very interesting.
Mm-hmm. I don't have to know about any. That's not my job.
Mm-hmm.
That's not my job. Thank you. Ms. Hill, Dr. Hill.
Yeah, similarly to what Ms. Roberts just stated, I think I've shared this with you too, Paula, because I've been in mental health, behavioral health for many years now. And so I always look for opportunities in that space. And I know that there's some, but you have reminded me of the importance of really building a team. Like, no, Melanie, you don't have to limit yourself. You don't have to do everything. I think that's the other part of this takeaway is you're building a business for that will encompass areas of expertise outside of you, and that's how you grow. That's really how you grow this business and to create generational wealth. So it is, I too share that notion of getting beyond yourself, getting beyond what you know, what you've done for so long, and being able to say, and the reality, like we know a lot of people, right? You know, like I could build a team of professional subject matter experts. So that's one. And then the other part of it is what you highlighted too. I think one of the other participants mentioned it, this is indeed an opportunity to create like that succession wealth, like where you're bringing in the next generation. Like once yours in, the other person can take it on, another family member can take it, or whoever can take that. It's just about us creating the pathway. If we're the trailblazer,
Yes.
then
Yes.
we can literally blaze the trails of wealth for generations to come. And
Yes.
that's really an exciting thing.
Oh, thank you for hearing and seeing the vision. Jennifer and AW, you all get to wrap it up, and then Horace.
Hi, so this is Jennifer. How's everybody doing?
Okay.
It's a lot. I took away information about how to build generational wealth and how there is hope, because I do have a disability and I am low income and trying to run a business. And I'm not gonna lie, I was like, I don't know about this one, and just trying to find resources. And it was a blessing for me to come to that mixer and to meet you. So I've taken in a lot. So when I get done, I'm going straight to computer room and just start to research everything and just start the path on the information that you provided with us today. And I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
AW, you came in late. Who are you?
Hi, and Bika Walker. I was invited by Yolanda.
Yolanda.
Yes, good friend of mine. And I'm appreciative of what you've said, because I currently manage grant programs for a university. And when we release the RFPs for our state funded programs, we award agencies throughout New York State. And I've learned in my work that they're just a pass through. The ones that we're awarding, they're a pass through, and they subcontract with other people to do the work. So I've never kind of like, I've wondered about it and wondered like, geez, they can do that, and have the finance people tell me, yeah, they can do that. So I'm just like new in this field of grant management. I've been a grantee for many years, and now I'm managing grant programs. So full circle. But what you're saying is just validation, and it's kind of inspiring to me to know that, yeah, why can't we do it too? They do it, and
Yes.
they're able to make money off of it. And you're right when you say we don't have to know how to do all this work. You're gonna hire people and put people on your team to do that. So
Just
yeah,
simple as that. It was just
yeah,
manager, project management.
yes.
Yolanda,
Thank you.
thank you. And there's nobody up in New York that's in that program. No competition. I just trained Malik Yoba on that. And he's won his first contract. Bringing the entertainers, the athletes. We all need to come back home. Yolanda, did I ask you, since you was the major cheerleader?
I attended this info session last week, and these power sisters that I invited, I thought about them the whole time. And I thought about, the teamwork and collaboration, and like you said, we so much thinking about our gift and what we can do, but it's all about being the boss and hiring people that have those skills and can do it. And so, I brought these folks here because I want to pull my team together and more teams, right, to make this thing happen. In the middle of the week, I woke up with the word procurement. I can't even say the word procurement. Am I saying it right? And when God gives me things in my dreams, I act on it. So that's why I'm back here today. And like I said, I brought these power sisters with me.
Well, I thank you. And you think about it, we hire our own. We're going to hire our own through these contracts. We have to save us. And Horace, can you unmute? Are you in a place where you can unmute? Because I know you've been with me since 2008, with new beginnings. He may not be in the area that he can highlight. Dina, you have anything to close out on?
Hi. No, you've said it all. Basically, make sure you put your information in the chat. We do have your email address. We will send out a copy of the video, just what we've aired. So you'll get a chance to look at that. But if we don't have your email, we can't send it to you. Thank you all for being here. And hey, fly, Eagles, fly. That's all I got to say.
All right. Thank you, guys. Keep your heads on the ground. Don't get caught up in the madness. It's
Yes.
just the beginning. We can't be crazy like him. And buy my book. They'll tell you